Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Loose Bottoms, the podcast where we talk about the latest season of the Traitors UK. We're talking about season 4. If you haven't watched it, don't forget to tune in. It's by far one of the gaggiest seasons. Let's get into it. So what we're gonna do is we got a fantastic guest. She's the diva of divas. She's gorgeous. She's a theater diva now, you know. She's the one and only super diva bastard of Birmingham, Ysheeblack. Welcome, Ysheeblack.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited. I love the Traitors so much, so I'm so excited.
So how are you? How's things going for you? How was you? Tell the people here about your latest work in the theater.
Yes, I just did the panto in the West End. Very nice, Snow White. It was an all drag panto. So it was myself, Kitty Scott Claus, Tayris Mongardi, Sophia Stardust, Kyron Thrax, written by Kate Butch, and Kate was in it as well. So it's like a whole drag race, drag icon level of panto.
Amazing. We are a super K-Bush fan here. Right, so all our guests always get asked the same question, which is, if you were to play in the Traitors, what would you like to be? A faithful or a traitor, and why?
Faithful. And I know it sounds crazy.
Wow.
Because I think they would suss me out as a traitor too quickly.
I'm so surprised. I really thought you were gonna be, because you're like so sassy. What would have been your strategy as a faithful to win the game?
Well, listen, you have to sort of make teammates and actually like connect people together. I think what people think is that they're doing it alone if you're faithfuls, but actually, if you have 2 or 3 people around you, then you can sway the game to your ideas a little bit more without having to be so crazy and loud about it. Because the crazy loud people go out first or are up for suspicion.
Yeah.
It makes great TV, but really in the game, their time is ticking. So if you have 3 or 4 people around you who will save you and sway the vote, then you can go through as a faithful.
Yeah, it's almost like what we were saying, in the world of Drag Race, an alliance is always helpful when you play in a game like this. So before we talk about episodes 2 and 3, we obviously gonna do a small recap of episode 1. So first and foremost, what do you think about the chosen traitors? And let's start talking about Steven. Can we have a picture of Steven, please? Let's have a picture of this man. Hello. Talk to me about the traitors. What do you think? Was it a good choice?
Really great. They understand each other. Even great. I was like, I hope he becomes a traitor, because I think he'll go undetected, and I like that. I like when a traitor is undetected. I think Rachel is great in her ways of just. She's so direct. She's like, I'm a faithful. I'm a faithful. I'm a faithful. Loved Hugo as a barrister. I thought it was great. All 3 of you have something different that you can work on and work with. So I thought it was great. Great job.
And Steven, like here in Scotland, we are all like,
And that's why I'm glad he's a traitor, because I think he's going to last a long time. So we're going to see some great outfits. Already people are online asking where he gets his outfits from.
let's not forget about the twist of all twists. Let's talk about the secret traitor.
I was gagged because when Claudia tapped someone on the shoulder, I was like, oh, a 4th. And I went, they didn't show who it was. And then I went, are we now playing the game? I think it's a great twist.
I love the fact that we don't know as audience who is the secret traitor.
I think that's amazing. I think that's the best.
And who do you think is the secret traitor?
I think, and you know what? I've had various things. I did think it was Fiona at one point, but then again, I realized that in past seasons they've had older women who are traitors. Amanda, Linda, you know, somebody. So yeah, Linda. So they've had all of those people. So I'm like, maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's someone that we haven't even really met yet. But then again, I do think Roxy.
My 2 are Roxy and Harriet. Those are my 2. And then let's start with episode 2. So episode 2, how do you feel about the challenge? Do you think was wise for people to go first for the shield?
This game, at the start of the game, the traitors will try and murder people
Yeah.
that people are like, oh, why have they gone for that person? But realistically, that could be any of you. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Because you don't know each other that well. So really, everyone is under that bracket of, oh, why did you kill that person? They've got no alliances to anyone. Yeah, well, of course not.
Bringing that back to what you're just saying, obviously the secret traitor has got the influence of choosing who is up for murder. How gaggy
I
is
think these
that?
things will always sort of have their moment. It depends if like people really um keep on it. Because like I remember last season, remember when Linda turned her head and one of the faithfuls was like, oh, I saw you turn your head. And he wouldn't let it go all season. So I don't think this is going to be one of those things, but I think it might pop back up again.
Now let's move back to the people that were shortlisted. Now we're talking about shortlist. So we had Nettie. Do you see yourself in Nettie? What do you think?
Listen, the second she got out of that car and started hugging Ross, I went, oh, she's a bit of me. She's fun.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So her hugging Ross was wild.
And then we had James, who was also up for murder.
James is such a loose cannon, perfect for the traitors because
Yeah.
he's completely wrong all the time. He's loud about it, and he will literally change his opinion left, right, center every single week, which will confuse people, or it will get people to focus on that rather than whoever's a traitor.
One of the things that we really like was the fact that he disclosed that he got ADHD, and it's so like valid and like important to talk about that at the moment because he gives those people with ADHD to have an understanding that you are capable of doing anything. You could even be in the traitors. Then lastly, we had Mass. God love Mass.
He's not doing much, but
Mass is not doing much.
to be fair, I thought that's why he would go first because he's not doing much.
And then going back to the challenge, obviously we had the three people that won the shields, and we had Jade. How do you feel about Jade?
I mean, I feel like she's stirring more feathers in the castle than out. But everyone, people like Jade, I'm like, I don't see it personally, but some people have said she might be the secret traitor, and I'm like, interesting.
I don't see that. I think she's just like a quirky student. And I don't know if you know, but like she lied to them that she's a PhD student. She just said that she was a master's student.
I feel like she's going to get caught, but I think she's great. Actually, let me look at you. And if a few people gang up on her, then I think she's
Yeah,
done for. They've
that
got
was so
so
funny.
many LGBTQs in this
Yeah,
season.
love it. But they're so different as well, like they are part of the same community, but it shows people how we all are so different and we got different approach to our sexuality, which it was so good. And last but not least, we got Faraz. He's so cute.
I think he's currently like going under the radar a little bit,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's like for him, it's not a bad thing. I think there's a few more louder voices, especially in the male category.
There was, I don't know if you've seen it, there's some people on Twitter talking about that they thought he was the secret traitor. I never saw that, but imagine that would be so gaggy. What do you think about the challenge overall, the whole challenge? What do you think?
It was a very different challenge, which I think is great. I
Mhm.
always wonder if they're going to like, because they do a habit of repeating challenges
Yeah.
over seasons. And I'm like, I'm glad that this was a new challenge. I'm glad that this was fun. I feel like it's a bit harsh making all the older lot really like manually work physically.
Poor Judy. Judy was like, I thought she was gonna die. If you were to play the game, what would have been your favorite challenge so far from all the seasons that we will watch?
My favorite challenge, it would, I feel like my favorite challenge would be the ones where you're split up into like groups and you have to go find one thing and then send it to another group and they have to like figure it out because like I would like to, I'm very good at like describing things. So I'd be like, oh, it looks like this, it's like this or that or something like that, and then the other group will get it because I think we'd get a lot of money.
Absolutely. It's the money. Absolutely. There's no point to play the traitors if you're not expecting to win loads of money. How would you have approached that round table?
You're not going on much. Sorry, you're not do you don't have enough information really. You're only going off what people are really saying when they
Hmm.
open their eyes, which I think is crazy after the traitor's been picked. Going in and out of like, oh, they were really loud before we got picked and now they're not. I would hate to say it, but I'd go with the majority.
The only thing I will find it really difficult is like if I make a really good friend on the first day, then we move to episode 2, and that's the person that everybody's choosing, and I have to choose it because then people will look at me like, that was your best friend, bitch. You cannot be voting for him or her. Sadly, we find out our lovely Judy is the one to get banished from the traitors table. Now,
Roxy was not happy at all.
what do you think about that twist that Judy was Roxy's mom?
Loved it, loved it, loved it. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I went,
Yeah.
I would say that because she's my mum. I went,
Yeah, I thought after Diane we were not gonna see another one. I mean the two sisters were great, but like I thought Diane was like iconic, and I didn't think we are gonna see somebody like that. And then we got Judy, who's like everybody's nominating her. She's just smiling and laughing and like,
even though they knew they were a pair, they kept it quite distant and they had like a plan. Because
yeah.
if she hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known at all.
Would it have you said to your mom, "You're a very loud lady," if you went in the show with your mom? I can't believe it. She said that. Um, Then let's move to obviously episode 3. We find out that at the end of episode 2, we got 3 more shortlisted, which are Ben.
I didn't think much of Ben, to be fair. I was like, oh, okay. It seemed like another rogue one. It felt like Maz. I wasn't really seeing much, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I feel like he had more of an impact in the castle than we saw.
And then we had Mas one more time.
I think Matt is gonna be up every single time.
So he must be thinking, oh, I'm loved by everybody, and suddenly he's been nominated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that was a clever move from the secret traitor because you're not giving away too many options for them to think, oh, that's a faithful, that's a faithful. So that was clever. And last but not least in this shortlist we had Reese.
I didn't know Reese existed until episode 2. I didn't know Reese existed. This twink. But I'm glad that he spoke up a bit more this episode in episode 3.
Do you think it was quite desperate of him in the episode that we're gonna talk in a minute about looking for a shield? Do you think you would be that desperate?
I would be desperate, but I wouldn't want to let them know that I'm desperate because you have to, it's a balancing act. You want to
Yeah.
help everybody with, the paintings and stuff, but you also want to have a little snoop around while everyone's preoccupied to look at the thing, not just shouting, oh, I need a shield, I need a shield, I need, so everyone can hear you. That's
It is too
ridiculous.
much, yeah.
Too much. You're doing too much. You want to be sneaky, sneaky while, helping
Yeah.
everyone out.
And then obviously sadly we find out that Ben is the person to be vanished. We knew it was coming, it was just so obvious. We go to the breakfast the next morning and we find out that everybody's like, oh my gosh, Ben is gone. But not realizing that obviously it's a game plan of Ross to catch them. But before we move to that, how do you feel about Hugo's reaction to Ben leaving?
Hugo was so funny because Hugo, in Hugo's head, was like, oh, I'm defending this person. And he would have got away with it in season 1. He would have got away with it in season 2. Maybe he would have got away with it. But season 4, the faithfuls understand the game and they went, you're doing too much for a man you only just knew.
I still think he would have saved it if he would have stopped it when he said how hard Ben worked. But when he went, looked at the camera and said like, the guys that did that, that's so mean. And I was like, and cat. I was like, come on, Hugo.
And especially when there are other smart people in the room as well who are like, Harriet was on him like white on rice.
I know. Harriet, who is also hiding her identity, her true identity, which is so funny. And it makes sense what she said. Like, if you are a barrister, why would you tell people that? Do not tell people that. And then we're gonna move to the challenge on episode 3, which was the paintings. Which team would you really have loved to be?
I would have loved to pose. I would have loved to like just dress up, pose in something fun.
What do you think about that fact that in one of the teams, Matt was made into a horse and a cow?
Listen, I can play any part you want me to play. I'm versatile. Moo or cow, nay or whatever, I can play it. I can do it.
Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. We find out that obviously they all managed to do all the paintings apart from one. If you were in the team that were trying to identify the painting by the picture, you think you would have got it?
Yeah, I definitely would have. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to break it down, how many people are in the photo, what does it closely look like? You know what I mean? And like you have to like where are people looking down rather than just like looking or just being like you have to really it was funny when they got one wrong and the guy literally walked over to the front, literally where people were standing and went, this is the one it is.
After so much talk about the bloody shield, we got a shield, and that is being found by James. How do you think Reese feels about it, the fact that he didn't get the shield?
Annoyed, devastated, angry, but it is what it is. And I think that's why if he just stopped talking about it and actually went looking, he'd
Yeah.
have the shield.
Do you think he might, in the next episode, he feels let down because he told James that he was desperate for a shield? Or do you think Reese is just not going to think it that way? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they'll think it that way at all. I think it's one of I think because everyone really at one point will want a shield and be desperate for a shield, it's not going to be that much of a thing. But I just think for the moment, for that round table, it probably was.
So let's talk about the round table. Obviously, you mentioned about the fact that you would go with the majority, which it makes sense. But if you were a traitor, would you be as a traitor voting for your traitor friends this early?
Absolutely. Because if the game that I'm playing is a faithful around other faithfuls or around other connections that I've made, I would go with those connections. They may be the majority, but like for Stephen, for instance, he's got a few friends now and they're all voting the same way. So it would be weird if I went another way without a really, really big reason.
I thought the same. I thought, who said that you cannot vote traitors this early? Who came out with that rule? And I don't think Steven is being that savage. I think he's been a little bit clever because he was getting a little bit of heat due to the whole Ross conversation with Ben. So I was like, Steven have to do it. There was no other way around. And then we find out that obviously our dear friend Hugo,
The fastest traitor caught in UK
yeah,
traitors. That's crazy. Episode 3.
I know.
It's wild. And I was like, what's happening?
I just love when he revealed he was a traitor, and he went like what a 12-year-old will do. He's like traitor, ah! And I was like, what's this? But no, I actually did enjoy Hugo though. The level of delusion was so great to watch that I just love that. I love to be delusional, and I love people that are delusional because I think it makes the magic in the world. So Hugo goes, Rachel and Steven get given the task of marking the tree. How would you overcome the challenge?
I was having a panic attack. I was going crazy because this is something that's so different to just, murdering in plain sight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First of all, you have to mark an object that is like in the center of like the castle. You can't just do it once, you have to do it 9 times. So that means you have to stay there for a long period of time while you do it. I don't know how they pulled it off.
I felt so sorry for Steven. You could feel that he was breaking it. He was sweating. I said, the poor guy is like doing a whole marathon here. I felt so sorry. So I'm glad that Rachel kind of took the ownership. And what I like, what do you think about this? The fact that she chose a red glass to go with the red finger. So when she washed it, there was no evidence. I was like, that's so clever.
That's so clever. Because see, Rachel's thinking ahead. She's got a few steps ahead. And that's why I think she will stay for the long haul.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. That's what I love the Irish. And the last question for you is, do you think there's any more family relations in the castle?
I don't think there's any more family relations. I've heard online that Ross and is it Ella know each other.
So there's no couples. You think Amanda is not with her partner in the Traitors Castle?
No, I think that would be crazy. If something
Okay.
does come out, we'll see. But that's
Okay.
I don't think so.
give us your predictions. Who do you think is gonna win, the Faithfuls or the Traitors?
I think this season the Traitors are going to win it. I think they've got a really good one in Rachel. And I think Stephen will go under the covers for a while, but be able to fight. When he does get to that point where he needs to back his case up, that people go, actually, I think he's a faithful. I also think other people are more suspicious than Rachel and Stephen are at the moment.
Before we let you go, where can people find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on my Instagram page at Ysheeblack, which is YSHEE, and also on X or Twitter. And just find me online anywhere doing podcasts, talking, running around, doing the most with the least. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again in Glasgow, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Soon.
You know, you got my heart. I love you all so much.
Oh, Glasgow loves you as well. But thank you so much for coming, and thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and tune in next week for episodes 4, who will have the amazing Ginger Rogers from Glasgow and Gran Canaria. So he will be joining us in the podcast, and we'll be talking about all the tea during the episode. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.